Get ready to drop the mic because today's guest is living proof that being quiet doesn't mean playing small. I'm joined by Laurie-Ann Murabito, a speaking and visibility coach who went from painfully shy to powerfully in demand. Laurie-Ann helps bold, motivated women and business owners use their voice as a tool for credibility, visibility, and serious impact, whether that means owning the room, landing speaking gigs, or getting paid to share their story. She's not just talk. She's actually walked the talk. Laurie-Ann is an award-winning professional speaker, executive leadership coach, and three-time entrepreneur who's helped powerhouse clients like Johnson & Johnson and the American Cancer Society build influence and authority through speaking. Oh, and she's also the best-selling author of Rethink Leadership and Rethink Your Leadership. And to top it off, she's also the host of the top 1% ranked podcast, Be in Demand. Today, we're diving into why your voice matters more than ever in midlife, how to stop shrinking in spaces where you were born to shine, and how to speak without selling out. You're going to want a notebook for this one, and maybe, just maybe, you're going to want to have a mic that you can drop. You're listening to Midlife Strategies for Badass Women, the no BS podcast for women over 40 who are sick of playing by someone else's rules. I'm your host, Sue Willoughby, badass midlife strategist, truth teller, and professional fire starter for midlife reinvention. Around here, we don't do fluff. We do real talk, bold strategies, and badass breakthroughs. Because midlife isn't a crisis, it's your damn power move. If you're all in, unapologetic, and ready to reinvent, let's get started. Hey, and welcome back to another episode of Midlife Strategies for Badass Women. And today, I have a very special guest. I know Laurie-Ann from a mastermind group that I'm in about podcasting, and I'm fascinated by her topic and her chosen path about being in demand as a public speaker. I think a lot of people find it scary. And I've done some stand-up comedy in my life, and it was indeed quite scary. I guess that falls in the public speaking realm, but today, in a really scary, weird way. So my guest today is Laurie-Ann Murabito, and I can't wait to, it's not just about public speaking, but it's about finding your voice personally and professionally. And I think a lot of women struggle with that. So without further ado, Laurie-Ann, bring it on. I'm really curious.
Ooh, thank you for having me. I've been really looking forward to having this conversation because I feel like talking about voice and really finding our voice is not a conversation that I have very often. So I'm really excited to chat with you about this because I think it's so important. It's like, why does it take like years for us late women to finally start speaking up? And even still, we can still be a little polite, and all those years that I didn't speak up. So we continue the pattern. So I think it's time for us to have a pattern interrupt.
Yeah, I love that. I love that. Let's interrupt. Let's be disruptors. So tell me a little bit about how or why how you got into public speaking and I know that you made a transformation. I mentioned it a little bit in the introduction. So tell me how you got to where you are.
Sure. And a lot of people find it so hard to believe, but I actually am a painfully shy girl. I couldn't even make eye contact with people. I felt like I was an expert at sneakers and tile floors. And if I
You
didn't
could have
see
gone into the
you,
shoe business.
I could have. And if I didn't see you, then like you didn't exist. I didn't exist. I was just, and I'm 5'10" without shoes on. So I'm really hard to miss,
Right. Yeah.
and
Same
I
here.
usually
I'm
do wear
5'10". Yeah.
heels. Yeah. So like we're in the 6 feet tall club here
Right.
with our heels on. So I was going along with my career, which was in healthcare, and then I found this thing called coaching and decided to leave corporate. And so women network differently. That's
Mm,
all there is to it. And
mhm,
I had started going to networking events and found a couple of other women that I had made friends with, and was just like, we need to have an event that actually caters to the way that women like to network. And so that's what we did. And they pointed at me and said, "You do the speaking." And I was just like,
uh, uh,
what?"
uh.
My head went up and down, and deep inside, I was like, "What are you doing?
Oh,
Like, you're not a speaker. You don't speak in front of people." However, self-integrity is one of my highest values. If I
mm,
say I'm going to do something, I will do it. So I showed up and I did it. And the funny thing about it, because having worked with so many clients who worry about what's the audience going to think? What
mm,
if I forget what I'm going to say? What's going to happen afterwards? How do I handle Q&A? I never thought about any of that stuff for some reason. Never thought about the future, just thought about like, okay, what can I do right here, right now? How do I serve this audience?
yeah, interesting.
And I spoke in a standing room only for about 20 minutes. And at the end, I said, like, there was no close. There was no beautiful close like there is today when I'm speaking on stage. I literally said to the audience, okay, now I'm done. And if you want to talk to me, I'll be in the back of the room.
Nice.
And you should be laughing because when I look back on that, it's hilarious. But here's what's even more remarkable is that
Mhm,
people came up to me and said, "So do you work with clients? Do you have a website?"
mm.
And I was like, "Did you not just see the train wreck?"
They didn't see the train wreck.
We didn't because it wasn't a train wreck
Right.
in their eyes.
Mhm.
And that's the funny thing about speaking is that the people that you mentioned in the intro, most people are afraid of public speaking.
Yeah.
Kudos to you for doing stand-up comedy, by the way. But most of the people who are in the audience, you're doing something that they wish they could do, that they wish they had the courage to get up there in front of people and speak. Because
Yeah,
our desire, our human desire, our human need to be accepted is so strong because we don't want to
absolutely.
get kicked out of the cave, so
Right.
to speak.
Yeah,
Like that
absolutely.
is still going on inside of our hardwired brains.
Like me, like me, like me, like me, please like me.
And now we're doing it with social media, like, "How come nobody liked my post,
Right, right.
my
It's just
thread,
another
my
way to
video?"
amplify our fears and our doubts about ourselves.
Yes, yes. So that's how I ended up in the professional speaking world. I said yes to something, which led to something else, and then I wrote a book, and that just led to something else, and I was speaking in leadership, and then something
Mhm,
happened where something happened in the Fort Lauderdale airport, and the FAA, like, literally rules the world when it comes to the air industry, and
mhm,
every plane was told to land at the nearest airport. I
mhm,
wasn't in Fort Lauderdale, I just wanna make that super clear, but I was hopping on an airplane the next day,
mm.
and I literally remember saying, "Universe, I need a new business model." And 2
Yeah.
weeks later, I got a text message from somebody that said, "Laurianne, do you write speeches for people?"
Ah,
I didn't. However, I helped her, and I had so much fun, and she, like, had amazing results from giving a speech that showcased her expertise, completely changed her business, and I was like, "I wonder if anybody else wants to know what I know." And so
yeah,
that's
yeah.
what brought me into the online world, and then I became a podcaster, and then I got to meet you.
I love it. I love it. Well, the thing that I love about all of that is that, you said yes to one thing and then another opportunity appeared and you said yes to that. And it's like you were just open to the things that were being presented to you. And
Yeah.
and when you do say yes to things, more things are going to appear. And I think that that is a really important thing that if you just are like, "No, I can't do that. I can't. No, no, I don't write speeches for people." Or no, oh, but I could, right? And you're like, like you said, having that bit of integrity about, if I say yes to something, I will deliver. I
Yeah.
think is really informs the way that you go through life, because you're like,
Yeah.
I'm not going to let this person down. I'm going to do this thing. And it forces you out of your comfort zone, maybe a little bit or a lot. And then you do it and you're like, oh, I did that. Okay, well, let's do that. But I have a
I
couple
did
of
that.
quick questions about when
Yeah.
you talked about being tall and always not making eye contact with people. Do you think
Yes.
because you were tall and because you did stand out, that was your way of not being noticed? Like if I'm just really quiet and if I'm
The
introverted, then
putting my
nobody's going
head
to see me.
down the putting my head down and being quiet actually comes from something that happened in junior high.
Hmm.
My family was actually living overseas,
Oh, okay.
and I went from a public school here, public co-ed school here in the United States, to a Catholic all-girls school that was 90% Japanese.
Oh,
And
challenging.
one day yeah, which is just a little challenging. And one day I walked into class and started talking to one of the girls, like, at break, and she was like, "I can't talk to you. None of us are talking to you."
Oh
And
no.
I was shocked. So, I actually had really good self-confidence up until that point,
Wow. Wow.
and that shut me up.
Interesting.
And what I did was I turned to books, to reading,
Uh,
because reading's a solo activity. You can't, like, read and have a conversation with somebody at the same time.
yeah. Yeah.
So I became, very quiet, and that's where the probably learning how to put my head down actually came from.
Interesting. Okay.
And then it just
Yeah.
became a habit.
Yeah. And you became introverted, which is interesting because, yeah. So when I was growing up and being tall, I would, kind of slouch. And my grandmother was like, stand up, be proud of the fact that you're tall, and, and then once you're like, oh, okay, I can just be myself. But, you do stand out when you're, especially in grade school and stuff, because the boys don't shoot
Mhm.
up until they're older. And, people are like, "Who is this Amazonian person in in the
Yeah, I
3rd
always had
grade?"
to I was always, like, in the back row with the class
Yeah,
pictures.
right. Yes. Doo-doo-doo-doo. Okay, so I was just curious about that, and then also you made a comment, you said women network differently than men. I just wanna touch on that. Tell me a little bit about that.
Women just connect differently. We have different
Mhm.
conversations. It's not just, "Hey, so what do you do?" I mean, it's just like, "Hey, what brought you here?"
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
it's more of these heartfelt conversations,
Yeah.
and you can always tell the women who are following the advice of men networking, they're the ones that are running around and just, like, passing out their business
Shaking,
cards, like, "There you
sticking their
go, there you
hand
go, there you
out,
go."
yeah, here's my card and
And then they move on to the next
Right.
group of people. Yeah.
Yeah.
So women just really like to have that connection. So,
Yeah.
I mean, this
Agreed.
was years ago, and so we were having education and networking because we were like, if you're coming out, like, why just meet people? Like, let's have
Yeah.
speakers that are actually going to teach everybody something. And
Right.
so that's how I became the speaker.
Yeah, I love that. I love that. And so when you first, like you said, you got up on stage and you had that first speech or that first presentation, and then people were asking you afterwards, "Hey, tell me, how did you do that?" And all that. So you're like, "Oh shoot, I gotta figure this out."
I had no idea that I could share, "Oh, here's the sort of work that I do. Here's how to work with me. Here's my website." I was just like, "Oh, here's my business card. Like, send me an email." Like we did the whole, like, just exchange of business cards.
Right.
And it worked, but I will be truthful, so I thought it was a fluke. I thought maybe it's just
Mhm.
these people that are here in this audience. But, like I said yes to another opportunity because now I got experience speaking.
Mhm.
And so I moved on and it happened again. And I was just like, huh, I might be onto something here. Like, it was
Right.
great marketing. I did not like to go to networking events and go,
Ugh,
like,
I know,
have the
me
small
either.
talk. But
Yeah.
you could put me up in the front of the room. Yes, the shy girl, like, put me up in the front of the room, let me share with everybody. Everybody gets to meet me at once, and then I can just say, "I'll be in the back of the room if you wanna have a conversation." And
Mhm.
now people would come to me. To me, that was so much more comfortable
Yeah.
because the people who wanted to talk to me were gonna come talk to me.
Yeah, exactly, exactly. I was kind of that way in social events, like where, I actually was a bartender and a DJ. So I was always that person in the front, right? Either behind the bar or in the DJ booth or whatever. And then people would come and talk to me. And I had this like buffer, right? Between like the bar or the DJ booth door, right? Or
Yeah.
whatever it was. But the same thing, whenever I would go to a party or something, I was I'm more of an introvert. I know that, comes to as a shock to a lot of people, but I would be in the kitchen because I knew eventually everyone would come to the kitchen to get a drink or get some food or do whatever. And I didn't have to go talk to people. I could have conversations with people so I totally get it. And it feels so much more natural and
It
real.
does. I
Yeah.
am learning so much more about you and your background.
Surprise! I know.
Yes.
Oh, that's so funny. Yes, we were talking about our human design and our Enneagram numbers and so forth
Yeah,
before the show.
and now you talking about that you wanted to be the one in the kitchen and people came to you, that's so projector-like. You're
Yes,
being invited
exactly.
into that conversation, and I'm the
Yeah.
Manny Gen. I gotta
Yeah.
do 5, 10 things at once.
I love that though, but I need the generators and the Manny Gens around me and because they help me. They help me,
Yeah.
give me some energy. So I love that. Okay, that's a whole nother story. That's a whole nother podcast. So tell me how I know that the name of your website is Be in
S
Demand, right?
You can stand out.
Speak and stand out. Sorry.
Yeah,
Be in
that's okay.
Demand though is
Every
it
everything my podcast is Be in Demand. My
yes, that's it.
programs are
That's
Be
it.
everything else except my
Yes.
website is Be in Demand, only because somebody already took the URL Be in Demand.
Oh, darn them. Darn them. But speak and
Yes.
stand out. So whether someone is and we before we got on, we were talking a little bit about finding your voice.
Mm,
And I think, like you said, that it's really important for us to be able to find our voice, whether we are getting up on stage and speaking in front of a lot of people, or even in a meeting. A lot of women find it hard to speak out and make themselves heard. So, can you
mhm.
talk about that a little bit about just like finding your voice and why it's important and how to do it, I guess?
I think we've been, one, conditioned to be polite and,
Mhm.
like, I mean, I lived in Japan, which is
Mm.
very polite, but also I was 13 years old. It was a very impressionable age, and, women were seen and not heard.
Mhm.
That was something that, I heard over and over again, not just in Japan, but even afterwards. So you put that on top of, we're just kind, and you think about, you're probably your biggest role model, your biggest female role model is your mom. What was your mom
Mm.
like? Well, my mom was she was extremely shy, did not being around other people made her nervous. But I was a little kid growing up watching this woman, the way that she reacted around people, and I'm thinking, "That's what I'm supposed to do." So I'm supposed
Mhm.
to keep my head down, turn around, not be seen. My mother was also, 5'2", by the way. You know? Look, she was easy to, look over and miss, but she also didn't speak up.
Mm.
So I didn't have that role model about speaking up. And my father's an engineer, and he can be very quiet and just
Mhm.
very reserved, and he holds his opinions very close to himself. So you have to find those role models. But I also think what is also happening, why women are not speaking up, is because we don't know what our voice is. And the reason why we don't know what our voice is because most people are trying to make sure that whatever I say is perfect. And this is what I'm going to believe forever.
Mm.
So, Sue, I'm gonna,
Mhm.
ask you a question. When you
Okay.
were in your 20s, do you
Oh
remember
boy,
what
I
your
gotta remember that.
yeah,
It's a while ago.
20s. Yeah, oh, me too. When you were in your 20s, do you remember what your definition of success was?
Oh my god. I I didn't have a lot of structure, so I was just out there throwing a lot of spaghetti against the wall, and I
Okay.
was just like charging ahead. I don't even think I knew what success meant. It was,
Okay.
living paycheck to paycheck and just barely getting by. And I don't even know. I don't even remember what I
Okay.
felt. Yeah,
I'll
no clue. Yeah.
I'll share with you what mine was, because this is what I thought success was.
Okay.
Success was having the big corner office, the big desk, telling people having other people that I was leading and managing and making a lot of money. To me,
Mm,
that was success. That's what I was told that success was. That's what I believed success
yeah.
was. You fast forward to today, and it's a whole different definition. It's about peace and joy and
Yes.
happiness and nature, and doing what I love to do, which is like helping other people use their voice. So the reason why I'm using like success, like what is success, as a question is that it's changed through the years.
Yeah.
It The definition I had in my 20s became very different than what it became in my 30s and my 40s, and here I am in my 50s. It's just evolved. So I think too many people are trying to make sure that whatever I share out in the public has to be what I believe is going to be true forever. And that's not true because you are evolving as a person. I
Absolutely.
mean, look at medicine and the research that we're doing. Like 20 years ago, nobody was talking about vitamin D3. D3 and K2. Nobody was talking about this. It still
Yeah.
existed, but today, because of the research, now we talk about it a little bit differently. And who knows what's going to happen 10 years from now? We might decide, oh my God, it's not this important as we made it out to be 10 years ago. I'm just speaking hypothetically, people. I do have no, um,
She
I
is
don't
not
want
a
anyone
medical
spreading.
professional
Yeah,
here.
I'm not a medical professional. I'm not spreading rumors around about D3, but I'm just using it as an example.
Sure.
So I say that because I just want people to understand, and this is what I work with my clients, is like, this is what you believe right now. This
Hmm.
is your perspective.
Yeah.
And it's getting out there and getting used to sharing that. And that can be the hard part. So I tell people
Yeah.
like IG stories is a fabulous place to start because guess what? It disappears in 24 hours.
Totally. Right. Doesn't stick
Yeah.
around to haunt you for the rest of your life.
Yeah,
Like,
it's practice.
yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Yes, I like that, thinking about that, and it's the same thing when I talk to my clients about trying something new, right? You don't
Mhm.
have to be the go-to expert in this thing. If you try it and you don't love it, then you had the experience and let it go. It's okay. And
Yeah.
like you said, then the next thing is going to come along and you want to explore that a little bit. But I want to talk about women's voices,
Mhm.
tonally speaking, or
Tones.
whatever, however you want to say it. Because
Mhm.
a lot of times women will talk like this, and it's like this. They feel like they have to talk in this little high. uh, If you've ever seen the movie In a World, it's about this woman who is her father is a famous voice artist, and she wants to
Mm.
get into it too. But she talks about that little baby voice, and how some
Yes.
women feel like that they can't speak in a deeper, fuller voice because they'll be seen as not feminine or something. Do you ever encounter this in your speaking
Yes.
coaching?
Yes.
Speaking
Yes,
coaching
yes,
thing?
yes. And I I myself have worked with a voice coach.
Mhm.
And, like, this year, and just to see the remarkable changes, like, from the very beginning to the end of the program, and she's just like, "Here's the nuances." And
Mhm.
I really enjoyed working with her, and, like, I was on her podcast because she's like, "This is what you do," like,
Yes.
teaching people to use their
Yeah.
voice. And so I do, like, we've got this range of of our voice, and that range is also, like, the range of emotion. So I always tell
Mhm.
people, "What's the emotion that you want your audience to feel?" And there should be all different emotions that you are taking your audience on an experience throughout your presentation. I mean,
Yeah.
like, this is the pro stuff. It's one thing to write a presentation and then you start to deliver it, but if you wanna fine tune it, Like, you have to be in the moment. You
Yeah.
have to be in the presentation, feel it with your audience, because it really is a performance.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, you're taking them on a journey.
So you think of like here's my range. Here's all the different notes that I'm capable of. And I see people like using like this much, and they're a little monotone, like, and like, like even men are exactly the same way. It's like, here's my range. And it's like, I want people to like play outside of the range, just play with your voice and see what
Mhm.
happens. See the reaction of people, like just use it with storytelling. So there's so much to it. And your voice speaks volumes
Literally.
about you, literally about you, and you haven't even finished your first sentence.
Mm.
Like, your audience picks up on, are you confident? Do you feel uncomfortable? Do you know your material? Are you fun to listen to?
Mhm.
So I hope that people who are listening to this have already felt like they've heard lots of variety in my voice,
Yeah,
because this is
absolutely.
something that I've been working on, because that's how people pay attention.
Right.
When you think about like the audio version of this podcast, people can only hear.
Mhm.
So if they're just hearing this tiny range, they could check out at any moment, because it's just like, this is like, it's the same. It
Mhm.
sounds like it's repetition, so you don't get people to really pay attention.
Yeah. Yeah. That's so good. That's so good. I love it. Hey, friend. I just wanted to take a quick pause and share something special with you. If you've been feeling like life has gotten really, really loud and your body's just craving stillness and space and something real, I would like to invite you to join me and my friend Frida Karsberg this fall in Paso Robles, California for our 2-day Equus coaching retreat. We are calling it Autumn Renewal, and it's happening October 18th and 19th. We'll gather with horses on the land and a small group of like-minded individuals. It will give you an opportunity to reflect, recharge, and reclaim your power. There's no horse experience needed, just a willingness to come and show up as you are. And for those who feel called to go deeper, we're offering an intimate VIP immersion day. It's the one day before the retreat with one-on-one time, energy work, and intuitive guidance. Spots are limited for both of these opportunities, and they always go quickly. So if this speaks to you, head on over to willoughbycoaching.com/events for more info and to reserve your space. We look forward to meeting you exactly where you are. When you have somebody come to you, well, let's say, for example, maybe they don't want to be a public speaker, but they do want to find their voice. Why would they come to you? I mean, clearly we've already talked about it, but why would they come to you to be just like out of the blue? Like,
Great, great question.
how do I find my voice? I don't know.
Because I'm starting to actually attract people in corporate
Uh-huh.
who have to give presentations, and they know that they're not moving up the ladder for some reason.
Mm,
And so, like, either you really network strategically, or in this particular case that I'm thinking of, I said, just dazzle the shit out of people like the higher managers, so that they see you presenting and they want to come and get to know you, because they're
mm.
going to want to have you on their team. So that's another way, but it is about playing with your voice. One of the things, that people feel uncomfortable with is pausing. And pausing is powerful. Maybe not so much with just an audio podcast, however, but like on a video
Let's just
podcast,
drop some dead air in here and see what happens.
yes, because just an audio podcast, people will think like, "Oh, what happened?" Like,
I
if
know.
the pause is too long, they'll think that something got dropped,
Yeah.
that they lost the signal, like whatever it was. But if you're in front of somebody, like when you pause, especially like after you ask a question or you have a dramatic statement, or something that's dramatic in your story that you want your audience to think about, the question that you want them to answer. That's what pausing's for. Pausing is to give people space to think. So there's nothing wrong with pausing, but most of the time people pass over the pausing because they think that they have to fill all the air that's in their entire 60-minute presentation, and all you're doing is really exhausting the audience because then
Right?
they're just like, "Oh my god, like I don't know what to
Yeah.
do. I don't know where to start." Yes.
It's like a fire
Yes.
hose. You're like, oh,
You do, you become a
help.
fire hose. So really, like, play with your tone, with your pace, and it just takes practice, and it's about having fun. Like,
Mhm.
I'm literally having fun playing with my voice while I'm here on your podcast.
Yeah, because sometimes you're gonna get really excited and you're gonna talk really fast and your volume may go up. And then there's other times where you want people to really lean in and think about
Yes.
it, right? Like you said, drop some silence. Because like you said, not only does it give them time to think, they're going to lean in and be like, what's coming next?
Yes. And
I
I'm gonna
love it.
tell you I'm gonna tell you physiologically how you can control your audience just
Okay.
by exactly with what you just said. When you speak really fast and you're really excited about something, what happens is that your audience is leaning in, but their heart rate's going up, their blood pressure's going up, like, and when you talk a little bit slower, like, they get to lean back in their chair,
Mhm.
blood pressure comes down, heart rate comes down. Breathing rate comes down, like, so you can play with that stuff with your
Mhm.
audience,
Yeah.
and again, like, you're just having fun. I mean, how much fun do you have playing with your voice on your podcast?
Oh, I love it. And I've always, imitating people or, imitating things and just having fun with it, or talking like in a really low voice. I do a voiceover thing for my horse. My horse used to do Monday Moose Minute. My horse's name is Moose. So he would do the Moose Minute. I would just, have a video of him like chewing, looking like he's talking. And I'd be like, whoa, hey, it's me, Moose. And I'm here today to so I always have had fun playing with my voice and not being afraid of that. I enjoy it. I think
Mm.
yeah, it is fun. And it also frees you up and you can kind of be a different character. If I want to be the horse,
Absolutely.
I could be the horse. So,
I love this, and people talk for their pets all the time,
yes,
so
absolutely.
there we go. But let's talk about, like, how you have developed not just playing with with your voice and your vocal cords, but the meaning behind your words. I mean, I'm sure that what you're talking about today is different than what you were talking about even just 2 years ago.
Oh, absolutely. For
Yeah.
example, when I did my very first podcast, I wanted to start it on my mom's birthday. My mom has since passed, or she has
Mhm.
passed before that. But I
Mhm.
wanted to do it as a dedication to her. And
Aw.
I was going to do it as a solo episode. Oh my God. That did not happen. I would get on and stumble through things, and I just couldn't find my voice, and I couldn't find the vehicle. I couldn't use my voice as the vehicle to convey this message that was in me. So I had a couple of friends interview me, and then it was yeah,
S
and so I was like, "Okay, well, I could do that," and it freed me up. I didn't have that self-conscious thing of, you know it gave me someone to talk to, and now I can do solo episodes because I know that I'm talking to one person. One person is listening. It may be 1, it could be 20, it could be 1,000, it could be nobody, but I'm still talking to one person, so it's not as difficult. But that's how I kinda got over that whole thing, and yes, it does evolve over time. You get more comfortable being on the microphone or being on a stage or doing whatever. Like I said, I took a class in stand-up comedy, and that was frightening. That was really scary.
I bet. I
But
bet,
now
like
I think
true.
maybe now it would be more fun for me to go back and do stand-up comedy because I don't really give a crap anymore. Back then, I
See
did give a crap, but I was, like, super nervous. Everybody's judging me, and yeah, they are if you're doing stand-up comedy, let's face it. But now I don't the stakes aren't as high, and like you said, I have a different, you know a different
a
feeling about
different
things. Yeah.
yeah, and you want people to hear you.
Mhm.
Whether it's one person or 1,000 people. My very first solo episode when I started my podcast, so I do have a walk-in closet, so I was like, "All right, I need, like, cushioning." So there I was in the closet, like, speaking to my sweaters, and, like, I got 20 years of speaking experience, and I came out and I was just like I was just like I was a bumbling idiot.
Yeah.
I couldn't make a sentence, I couldn't, like, just nothing really came out, and I was just like, "I can't do this." And then that other voice inside my head said, "Laurianne, your podcast recording muscle is very weak. Get back in there and do it again."
Do the
And
reps.
that's right, I just did the reps, and so let me try this again. Let me use a different perspective, um, do my pre-speaking routine, before I record another podcast episode, and that's how I got started. And I share that with people because so many people think, "Oh, well, that's easy for you because you're a speaker." They're
Yeah.
like, "No, actually, the truth is,
Yeah.
it was terrible." And I'd leave my first episode up there. And I used to until Facebook, like, got rid of your first Facebook Lives from yay many years ago, I used to leave my Facebook Live up there because I wanted people to, like, go look at it.
Yeah.
That's a woman who used to speak on stages, and I was, like, so flat, two-dimensional, like, I had, like, no emotion in what I was saying on my Facebook Live because I'm, like, looking at the green dot and just talking to that camera, and I'm just like, "Is anybody listening?
Yeah.
Is
And that
anybody
is
gonna take
hard.
this?"
That is really hard because I also teach online. And if people don't have their cameras on, I'm basically talking to myself. So I guess that's when podcasting comes in really handy. Uh, but it's true. And when I'm speaking in front of people, I'm making eye contact with individuals
Mhm.
in the audience at any given moment. And I am talking to that person, and then I'm talking to that person. Even though I'm talking, communicating with the entire room, I like to make that connection.
Whoa.
The difference, again, if you're on a stage with spotlights, you
It's hard
can't
to
do
see.
that. And
Yeah.
the first time that happened, I was like, I can't make eye contact with people because I can't see them. And I'm all like, yeah, that's not a great way to be up on stage, like covering your eyes and squinting. That, that does not look professional. So
Right.
once again, you have
Right.
to kind of go back to, okay, I'm just up here communicating and I'm making contact with you, even though I can't see you. So
Yeah, you have to almost pretend that you're making eye
yeah,
contact with somebody and then
yeah,
moving on to the next person
right,
so that they feel that because the lights aren't on them,
right.
the
No,
lights are only pointing onto the stage.
yeah.
Um, so
Okay.
fun. So fun and interesting, like, how we evolve and how we grow, and it really is about, like, stop trying to be perfect,
Mhm. Yeah.
Here's a good one that a lot of people have said to me, "I don't like the sound of my voice."
Mm.
Okay.
Yeah. It's a weird
So
thing when you hear your voice for the first time.
yes. So because I tell people, like, one of the best ways, like, after you finish speaking, you gotta, like, record it somehow on video, on audio, so that you can go back and listen to it, and I always get pushback. "I don't like the sound of my voice."
Yeah.
"Oh, really?" Okay, so first off, a little science here. Your voice that's coming out of your mouth, like like the sound waves like are bouncing back and forth. So you hear something completely different
Mhm.
than what other people hear.
Yeah.
That's one. But if you think like, I mean, what does that do subconsciously? I don't like the sound of my voice. If you don't like the sound of your voice, I bet you're not speaking up because you think other people don't like the sound of your voice.
Yeah. Absolutely.
I did not like the sound of my voice. Now, I have, like, bad memories from back when I was, like, a teenager and had, like, the cassette that I was recording,
Yeah.
and I was singing with the little itty bitty microphone. I mean, that was, like, poor quality. Like, that wasn't gonna record my good quality voice, even if I did have a good quality voice for singing. I have 2
Right.
sisters who have amazing voices. So, like, I would press play and, like, hear that. I was like, "Oh my god, that sounds terrible." Because I'm comparing it to somebody else.
Mhm.
But think about how that impacted me through the years
Oh,
until I just
absolutely.
like And here I am, a podcaster and a speaker, and like people hear me all the time now.
Right, right. Well, and I listen to your podcast religiously, and you do mostly solo episodes now. And they're
Yeah.
brilliant, and they're smooth, and I don't know if you're still sitting in your closet talking to your sweaters or not, but whatever it is, it's working. So
Thank you.
yeah, like you said, it does take your reps, as Adam would say. Take your
Yes,
reps.
I encourage people to do the reps. You
Mhm.
start going to the gym and you pick up, 10 pounds to do bicep curls.
That's a
And
lot.
until yeah, it's like until you challenge yourself, all right, let me see how many I can do with the 12
Mhm.
pounds. It does get to a point where, oh, wow, 12 pounds is super easy.
Yeah, yeah.
You move on to 15 and then 20, like, that's how you just get better is by challenging yourself. So that's why I tell people, you wanna get started, you want us to figure out, like, what your voice is and what you're all about and what you're passionate about talking about, just use IG stories.
Mhm.
Something that's very short or even Facebook stories, something just
Mhm.
short. It's gonna disappear. That way, if you say something that you're just like, "Oh, that wasn't very good," well, just, like, learn from it. What didn't you like?
Yeah.
Let me do it differently tomorrow or the next time I hit record, which maybe will be back to back. Because maybe you just don't like the way that you started.
Mhm.
And, like, you see all the people like, "Is this thing even recording? Is this
Yeah.
on? Can you
Is
guys
this
hear me?
on?
Can you see me?"
Hello?
Yes. I mean, when Facebook Lives first came out, there was a huge delay. It was like a 40-second delay in what so if I
Really?
ask the audience a
Wow.
question if I ask the
Yeah.
audience a question, 40 seconds I had to fill the space before people would hear it that they could start commenting.
Oh boy.
That
Yeah.
was that was a long time to ask, "So, like, who here has speaking experience?" Like, just, like, type in the chat, like, if, like, yeah, you've done some speaking, and, like, I really think that speaking needs to be redefined. So, like, I have to, like, keep talking.
And then you're like, "Oh, thank God, a comment." I didn't
I
realize that
mean
there was such a delay. Not anymore though, right? Is it?
Not anymore,
Yeah,
not
yeah,
anymore. I
yeah.
mean, just the technology has changed so much, but
Sure.
that's the thing. The technology has changed
Mhm.
and has just gotten better. From my days of the cassette recorder with that little itty bitty microphone.
I love it. They still have little itty bitty microphones, and that always cracks me up where somebody has to hold this little tiny microphone in front of their face. I'm like, "Really? Is that necessary?"
Y
I don't know. I just think it looks
We
silly.
got little, like, clips,
Right.
folks.
God, it's so crazy. But I have a question for you, and, think about one of your clients and tell me about one of the biggest transformations that you have seen in one of your clients, if you don't mind sharing. You don't have to,
I
say their name,
don't.
but
I don't mind at all.
yeah.
2 people come to mind.
Okay.
One person with speaking experience and one person who is deathly afraid of public speaking.
Okay.
So the woman who is afraid of public speaking, she literally left her corporate job because her boss was making her speak up in meetings. And she was
Oh.
like, "This is not for me. I'm going to go start my own business as a home organizer."
Okay.
And afraid of speaking. And then she decided that the fear of public speaking, she was no longer going to tolerate. So she hired me. And she tells her friends, "I hired a speech coach." And they were like, "What?" Like, "Why? You're afraid of speaking, like,
Yeah,
to
that's
anybody."
why.
And she gave her first presentation, and she's a home organizer. So one of her goals in her speech was to engage the audience. I said, "Okay, if you want to engage the audience, you might need to take a vote on do
Mm,
they wanna hear about" I think it was, like, kitchens kitchens, or kitchen pantries, toy rooms, or bathrooms. So she literally
yeah,
like, in her first speech, like, took a vote with the audience, and they picked the speech, so that meant that she had 3 presentations that were ready to go, and she was like, "Okay, hold on one
cool.
second." And she had
Yeah.
to move the slide to that position for whatever the audience voted on. As a result of her saying yes to that, and she wasn't at all nervous, because of course, like, as her speech coach, I'm just like, "So are you nervous?" She's like she says, "No."
Mm.
as a good coach, I said, "Why not?"
Yeah, right? Love that. Why not?
And she said, "You prepared me so well, I felt like I
Mm,
had 5 years of experience."
wow.
Yeah. So, because she said yes to that,
Mhm.
she got hired by a publishing company to write a book.
Hey.
Because of
Yeah.
that, she also got on morning TV 5 times during the time that we were working together.
Wow.
So, a woman that who was afraid of speaking, I mean, complete transformation. She is now known in her area as the famous home organizer.
I love it. I love it. That is so cool. The other thing I was gonna say is when you asked her why wasn't she nervous, I thought it was because maybe it was something that she was actually passionate about. But I
Well, she
love the
was
answer that she
passionate.
gave you that you had her so
Yeah.
prepared. Yeah.
And that's what a lot of my clients will say to me was like, "No, I wasn't nervous." Like, I was expecting some tech issue to happen. I was
Uh-huh.
like, they expect these things because I'll share with them, like, here's all the things that have gone wrong when I've been speaking,
Yep.
and your job as a speaker is to make the event coordinator look like a rock star. Like, no
Mm.
big deal. I
Yeah.
knew that this was gonna happen. Like, I've had people, like, had to entertain the audience while they figure out the tech issue. So, what brings you here to I mean, they're good at impromptu, like, come up with something that you
Mhm.
can start talking with the audience.
Yeah.
And the other woman who had speaking experience, and she joined my in-demand signature speech program, and, like, so she already had, like, speaking habits and she knew, but she was like, "Let me learn Laurianne's system." And she gave, her speech at a networking event, so she wasn't paid at this networking event, and she stepped off the stage to somebody handing her their business card saying, "We need you to speak in all 26 of our branches." It
Oh,
was a credit
wow.
union. She like so
Nice.
one 45-minute talk, and she stepped off the stage to 26 paid speaking opportunities.
Wow. That's impressive.
And I still need to follow
Do
up with
you
her to
so do you
find
work on
out.
commission? Is that how you
I probably should,
You
huh?
should, right?
Because
Yeah.
each of those 26, like, that could lead to more.
Sure.
Because that's what I
Yeah.
tell people, like, I mean, each of them is a domino, like, you are literally impacting lots of people every single time you speak, and you just never know. Like,
Mhm.
everybody who's in your audience literally has said, like, a little micro yes. "I'm interested in this topic. I
Mhm.
have this problem. I wanna hear from this particular speaker." Anybody who watches, like, your IG stories, your videos,
Yeah.
listens to our podcasts, like, that's a micro yes that I'm interested in this.
Yeah.
So keep that
Absolutely.
in mind, like, you're not, you know I hate to use the word torture, but you're not torturing people because it's their free will to come and listen to you.
Yeah.
They're interested, and I just feel like it's our job, it's our responsibility to share with others, our thoughts, our perspective, because that's what's gonna make other people start thinking differently
Yeah.
and see things differently, and that might help them take their next step so that they can maybe start doing the reps because they've seen you do it.
Yeah. I love that. That was beautiful. And okay, so having said all of that, if someone is interested in finding their voice,
Mhm.
public speaking, just being able to present themselves better, how can they reach out to you?
I would say the best way is to go to my website, which is speakandstandout.com. From there, you can follow me on your favorite social. You can even find my podcast from there. Like everything is there. So that's
Gotcha.
usually where I direct people to. And you can
Perfect.
learn more about in demand signature speech and all the fun things that I do with people.
I love that. Is there anything in particular that you would like to promote or anything you have going on or anything at all?
September 16th, 17th, and 18th, I'm actually doing a 3-day experience called the Get Book to Speak. So I'm
Okay.
gonna walk people through, and it's gonna be a live experience, very intimate. It's gonna be held on Zoom. I'm gonna teach people how to actually, like, go out and find bookings.
Okay.
I do have a directory of places to speak, which is at speakandstandout.com/gift. And that's a
Okay.
directory in case you like, "Hey, I know I wanna speak, I just don't know where to find my ideal people." And
Mhm.
then at the end of the month, the week of, September 29th, I actually will be starting the new cohort of in-demand signature speech, the fall version. So that's
Nice.
all. Yeah, it's an 8-week program and you will have a completed signature speech that you'll be proud and confident to use by the end of it.
I love it. Well, thank you so much. I was so excited to have you on today because, we've talked in our mastermind groups
Yeah.
and so forth. And this has just been such a pleasure, Laurianne. I really do appreciate your time. I appreciate your
Mm.
voice. I appreciate your energy and all of the things that you do to help people, women and men, find their voice and be in demand.
Well, Sue, you're doing great work by helping people, like by having this podcast and having these conversations with different guests and even just your solo episodes. I mean, the information that you share with people, like the
Mhm.
world needs to hear. So thank you so much for using your voice and using your stage, your podcast to touch more people's lives.
Oh, that's sweet. Thank you so much. Well, if this episode has been inspiring to you, please share it with a friend. Also, do all the things, rate, review, and all of that stuff so that I stay on the air. I'm going to be here anyway, but I would love it if you would share this with somebody else. And until next week, this is Sue Willoughby, and don't forget to be a bad ass. Thanks for joining us today.